Yep, we're back. Another Saturday. Welcome, guys. Excuse me. I always have a tendency to just drink soda for some reason. Some Waterloo, sparkling water mixed with a little bit of. I don't want to do a product placement, but it's it's a cola. Especially about the bigger products. Who cares? I already plugged in Waterloo because I like Waterloo. I'm mixing it with a little bit of Coca Cola. There, I said it. You happy? Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Saturday Live. Growing a 3-year beard, and yeah, as you can tell, it's coming along pretty nicely. The one thing that I did notice that anytime I drink something right out of a cup, my mustache will catch it right here, and then like somehow, like a sponge, it'll just kind of absorb just right on the edge until when I blow, like. And then suddenly the droplets come out, the water, the Coke, the whatever. Not the Coke, but the Coca Cola, the one I just said. Anyways, yeah, I just started noticing that. I think the one time 10 years ago when I grew my beard for a year, that was the issue. That's why I kind of trimmed my mustache the first. I think it was like the 6 month mark, something around there. But yeah. It just something. It was something that I definitely learned from. I really like soups, and somehow that was just completely turning me off. And I do like to drink stuff, like water and whatever, like out of cups. So that was a like kind of a deterrent a little bit. But I think over time, my mustache is going to be trained to go this way and that way and the other thing. It's going to be nice. But so far, everything that I drink from a cup, it just continues to yeah, it'll touch the tips. And then, well, I guess it didn't happen this time around, but hey, whatever. But yeah, hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Having a great weekend so far. It's Saturday, it's not Monday. What am I talking about? So, yeah, my weekend's been going pretty well. I'm going to start my new job on Monday, and I'm going to, enjoy the leisurely of Monday through Friday job, and then having the weekends off, which I never had that for the last 10 years, I believe. I always worked on the weekends. I always worked, kind of sporadically, a little bit too much. But I mean, even then, like my last job was a little bit forgiving. I didn't work on the weekends per se, but they would often call me and ask me, like, hey, you want to work a Saturday? I'm like, ugh, but I was planning on doing something. So not this time around. This next job, rehabilitation therapist, assistant, or technician. But technically, the title is rehabilitation technician. So I'll be in that route of becoming a PTA, personal. No, sorry, physical therapy assistant. Yeah, I almost blanked out for a sec. But anywho, that's my little new goal, new path. I'm no longer doing electroencephalograms, or at least, I have been doing that for the last 10 years, EEG work. So now I'm going to be doing more physical therapy. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I've always been introduced and kind of not intro, but um, I've been interested in the physical therapy aspect pretty much very much a long time ago. I've been always into the physical fitness. I've always been sort of, mindfully trying to condition the body, or like, find ways to, not hurt the joints, because when you get over like 30, that's when you become a little bit more mindful about the body. Some other restrictions, happen when you're in the 40s. I'm 40, 41. So it's just kind of, it makes more sense that the body, to me, is a little bit more important than the brain, because I've already been studying about the brain for the past 10 years. So anywho, but yeah, hope you guys are having a great weekend, and let's get into the bearded legend of the week. Today's bearded legend is, as you kind of can tell, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Everybody should know this guy by now because he is ultimately one of the most recognizable actors in America, in the world. He is he's just a powerhouse. And unfortunately he's no longer alive, but like his name is Robin Williams. Robin Williams is our bearded legend of the week because I mentioned it the last live, and I believe it was just a good fit because this guy knows how to grow a beard. Not only is he like super hairy on his palms, on his arms, on his back, on his chest, on his legs, just the guy's a hairy beast. But not only is he a hairy beast, but he's also a comedic beast. That guy, you've seen his movies, you've seen his comedy shows, you've seen pretty much everything about this guy. Super versatile actor. I mean, what else can I say about this guy? This guy is amazing. Robin Williams, and he knows how to grow an awesome beard. So let me go ahead and start out by saying that why Robin Williams is a perfect pick, of course. Well, not only he is about power. No, no, sorry, I was rereading that wrong. He's not about power or dominance. Obviously, he's not. But he is about humanity and why can I say that word? Authenticity. Authenticity. Let me just say it a few words so I can actually feel like I'm getting ready for this live. Anyways, his beard felt real, approachable, and unpolished. He represents depth behind the humor. Because obviously this guy not only was one of the funniest men to ever live, but he was also a very complex man, which leads me to my next fact. Three facts about Robin Williams. Not only was he one of the greatest comedians and actors of all time, like he was in movies like Good Will Hunting, Mrs. Doubtfire, Dead Poet Society, Oh Captain, My Captain, Hello, and It's Not Your Fault. You know, I went backwards. Dead Poet Society is Oh Captain, My Captain, and Mrs. Doubtfire is Hello with the whipped cream pie in his face because he's trying to cover the fact that he is dressed up as a woman. Awesome movies. He also played Popeye in the Popeye movie. Well, blow me down, Olive. Ha, ka, 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 ka. Anyways, I mean, he's got a plethora of other Bicentennial Man and Happy Feet. And I mean, I could go on and on and on about this man. Jumanji. Jumanji. I'm going to, switch over his his picture to the Jumanji picture because he grew a big, big beard in that movie. I mean, come on, this guy is just completely light years ahead of so many people, so many, humans out there in the world that are trying to figure out what is the meaning of life because this guy has kind of proved it. He proved it by his goodwill towards other people. He proved it by his good nature and his funny ability. And he also proved it by showing humanity. Um, but let me continue with the last, the second fact about Raul Mills. I kind of went on for a tangent. He's known for improvisation and rapid fire creativity. He's also behind the humor. He's carried a deep emotional complexity, which almost pretty much ended his life because he ended up getting into I would say what Bobcat mentioned was he had a certain condition which was a form of Alzheimer's or form of dementia, but it was eating at his brain, and he just ended up taking his life, unfortunately. But I don't think it was because of him. He already had a sort of a preconditioned depression that was kind of layered underneath his funny nature. So he was a very complex guy. He often didn't want to talk about real things or even just kind of like bland things or even serious things. I've heard so many videos and so many interviews about other people who've interacted with him when he was a young kid, when he was in his teens, when he was an adult. This guy has uh, um, a huge autobiographical history that you can just date back from so many years of his success to fame, including his rise and his falls, and as well as his demise. So, unfortunately, people with such great influence, they're not all perfect. They don't all think about, oh yeah, it's life is great and all, but ultimately he taught us one thing, and that is not every beard is about toughness. Some are about being real. That didn't make any sense. I read that and I don't know why it said that, but I guess that was the perfect tie-in for which not every beard is about toughness. Some are about being real. But I mean, he wasn't that much of a real guy. He became real when he was starting to start of helping others. Like for instance, he also, aside from having so many movies and so many productions that he had under his belt, he also hired the homeless to be a part of their film crew, which was really, not a lot of actors out there request things like that, because they think, oh well, I need a good boom micer, I need a good like lighter, I need someone who's professional. But not Robin Williams. He didn't think of it that way. He thought that we should employ the unemployed in America and give them jobs. So he found every opportunity to try to help out the unfortunate, to help out the downtrodden, to help out the homeless. And I'm pretty sure he's done so many other things aside from selling a Zelda video game with his daughter, like at one point, which was really cool. I think it was this. I think it was this one. It was actually, a part of that commercial, that Nintendo commercial with the Legends of Zelda. I think it was the Breath of the Wild. Yeah, he and his daughter were playing it, and yeah, he's just known for growing a great beard. And there's a fly in here. Yeah, yeah. He wants to be a part, or the fly wants to be a part of the live. It just didn't know that it was on the other side of the lens of the camera instead of this one. So Fly was trying to photobomb me, all right? That's all I'm saying. Like, but yeah, going back to Robin Williams, like he is just such an influence. And I mean, we've all had some type of influence or some type of like um thing that we were affected by through his works, through Robin Williams, talents and his movies and his comedy and everything that he just include. He was also a great voice actor. I mean, this guy was just super versatile that he could pretty much do anything. He was on Sesame Street. He was, of course, the Aladdin guy from uh, not Aladdin. He was the genie from Aladdin. Um, but anywho, yeah, he was just super versatile. This guy like just had some type of force to him where he was always the number one spectator, the number one spectacle in the room. He would always grab everyone's attention and just like everyone would just lock on because he I mean, like, people, speaking of coke, apparently this guy did coke too, but back in the day, just a lot of people in that industry did the same thing. So I mean, could you blame him? It gave him a little bit of an edge, but like it didn't change who he was. It just amplified this guy and his improvisation and his type of humor. He was able to make anyone laugh, including there was another story about him when I forgot that one comedian. It was what was the it was an African American comedian, black comedian, Richard Pryor, of course, one of the most influential, also comedians ever to you walk this earth. Richard Pryor, when he had his, I think he had like some type of MS, or he had some type of debilitating disease later in his life. And so when he was kind of like in the wheelchair, and he was able to kind of like he wasn't able to form sentences as much, Robin Williams went to Richard Pryor to make him laugh, and he made him laugh so hard that like it was just not everyone can make Richard Pryor laugh, and that was the thing, but Robin Williams could make Richard Pryor laugh. It was I butchered the whole story, but like, that's pretty much along the lines. That's basically what the story is. So he was just able to reach and touch people's hearts, not only through his comedy, but also through his acting. I mean, you've seen him in Good Will Hunting, right? Good Will Hunting was a great movie that he decided to, step out of the comedian role and become just this superstar of an actor. Like, this guy can act around anyone. Like, it was, and I know because like I studied acting a lot. I did the theater, I did the movies, I did the short story, the short films and stuff. I did that all throughout my whole elementary school to middle school to high school to a little bit of college, and then some like community college and stuff. So I studied, real good actors, from all across the span of like, the history. This guy was just, he's always going to be the number one because of his versatility. Like, there was no one that can match him, and including there's many people that are trying to do his bionic or his autobiograph film, which very convincing. There are many convincing people that can sound like Robin Williams, but like usually they kind of have like sort of the same like particular cadence where, oh, he always talks like this, oh, or you know not a lot of people can like get his entire range. And that's what I'm saying is like this guy was so good at what he did that he's going to be remembered forever. Like, and not only is he going to be remembered forever through his movies, but he's going to be remembered through his beard. He had an impressive beard, aside with his impressive career. So thank you so much, Robin Williams, for your wonderful contribution as a bearded legend. And your works always still inspire me to this day. So you did such a great job in influencing my life, including other people in the whole world who are still watching your works, your movies, your specials, your comedy specials and everything. Yeah, of course, people thought that you were a little bit of a joke stealer, but hey, you know what? Back in the day, that was what every comedian did, essentially. So you were just doing what you needed to do to just, be the best, and unfortunately, uh, even though it didn't work out the best way you wanted it to, it was just something that you ended up like just upholding to the highest standards of every other actor who wants to be in your level, be at your stardom. So I don't know. It was just like this guy really influences me throughout my whole life. So I speak very passionately about this guy because he had such a huge influence on what I am today. So that's why I'm a little bit of a goofy guy. I'm a goofy guy, but I can never, meet torches, touch tips at the same level as this guy, Robin Williams, man. Thank you so much, and beard on, So, yeah, now that I'm done with that, let me go in the chat and just, say hi to everyone. There's a few people. There's always that Cantonese symbol that I don't know what it is. I gotta start looking that up to see what it is. But yeah, Fade mentions, "Hey, how you doing?" Try not to, get this. If I touch this one little piece on this little tripod, then the whole thing will like go down like this. So I don't want to do that. It's that little crank that I'm, kind of helped lock it. But anyways, my name is Gabrielle. Gabrielle, how you doing? Nice to know your name. Sam Gray, yo, bro, so much love for you, bro. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I think I saw you before, in the last lives, and thank you for coming in. Um, you're 41 too this year? Oh, right on. See, I don't know. In my opinion, I think 41 is kind of like still pretty young, depending on if you take good care of yourself. I mean, heck, I've seen guys like in high school that like they were in their 20s and they look like they were in their 40s. So I don't know, maybe it's genetics or whatever, or however you carry yourself throughout your life. But I really feel that it is just the type of mindset that you carry yourself, you'll age more gracefully as opposed to kind of just, those high school guys that just don't age well. Anyways, but thank you for coming in. Hajara, how you doing? Uh, Karsten, my beard makes me look homeless around the 2 month mark, and I can't push past it. Hey, you know what? That's fine because, like, I think there's probably around like the month and a half to 2 months. That's when it starts to kind of look a little weird. There's always like an awkward phase to everyone's beard, especially about how much volume they get. Some beards are a little bit more thicker and lesser thick, but some, if you just push through it, you might be surprised to see, that maybe your beard looks, whoa, wow, I didn't see it that way. And this is how I'm seeing it with my beard. Like after a while, it's gonna start looking very bushy and stuff. But then, like maybe within the fourth or fifth month, that's when it starts to kind of like almost box out a little bit, and then it becomes a little bit more shapely. Which I'm excited for that, right? But hey, maybe if you push that over that second month mark, you might be surprised. So I challenge you. I challenge you, Karsten. But if you don't, I understand. But anywho, yeah, it is that struggle, the perception of looking homeless. That I go through that all the time. That's why I kind of have to like trim the top of my head, just to kind of make it look a more presentable. Otherwise, if I just kept my hair like this, man, it would just look so like kind of weird. And at this point, if I didn't touch my top of my head, I would definitely not be looking pretty good. At least more presentable because you can kind of do this. Here, let me see this. I got this beard survival kit from Gentleman's Hardware. So if you block the top, like the bottom part, I look fine. I look great. But then you block this part. I'm two different people. All right, that's me. So I can understand that perception. Um, but yeah, let me go down. Frank, I think that Cantonese symbol is maybe saying hi because I'm pretty sure that's what many different other are saying. Or maybe I'm just hitting the algorithm, in that area and part of Asia. I don't know, but let me know. Anywho, Luthen, I just got my finger blasted in a car park. What? I almost like, didn't even realize what I was reading until I actually said it. I just got finger blast. Oh my god. I'm not gonna say that again, man. Good to know, Luthen. Good to know. Keep out, like keep yourself uh yeah, like what do you say to that? Like good. I'm glad you're getting you're blasted on, in a parking lot, if that's what the car park, or maybe it's a like a park where you park your car at. Hey, that's fine, hey, it's pleasure town somewhere in the world, right? But yeah, so hey, we all want to get finger blasted, today. So whatever it is, if it's not physically, it'll be mentally. Let's finger blast our brains, so that way we can get things done. We could be more fulfilled. We can have that type of pleasure that it's a job well done, the accomplishment, and all that fun stuff in between. So I believe aside from growing a beard, you can train yourself. We all can train ourselves to get a little bit better throughout the day. We can maybe study something, we can focus on something that gives our life a little bit more meaning as opposed to the average consumption of TV, food, TV, poop, food, TV, go to the bathroom again, TV and food, more food, second or third food, like all those things. It's kind of like a fleeting life, don't you think? And for some people, you live like that way, that's fine. I have no quarrels or no problems with how people live that way. For me, I just want to live with just a little bit more purpose and meaning so I can help others. I can maybe help influence other people like this guy did, Robin Williams, everybody, for me at least, I look up to people like these types of figures because not only did they really influence so many other people, not just, average consumers, but the people who are also creating things to this day. That's why I want to be more like this guy. Not so much, the coke part, doing drugs and kind of um doing movies and everything, but just the type of discipline this guy had. This guy was a disciplined powerhouse that no other person could, really get to at the same level. However, we have the ability to. We all have the ability to get to this guy's level. It just takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of determination, and it takes a lot of effort to try it over and over and over again to see what works and see what doesn't. Like, for instance, my beard. 10 years ago, I grew my beard for a year. Halfway, in the 6-month mark, I ended up trimming my mustache. And hey, I learned from that because I noticed that now it's only been like, 3.5 months, but still it's starting to look a lot better because it's looking more filled compared to the rest of the beard. So this time around, I'm not going to try to trim my mustache because I know that someone else is listening. That person is, I forgot what your name is, but you know who you are. You're like, "You better not touch that mustache this time." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll try not to." But hey, look, like for instance, if I try to drink something like a soda, now it starts to drip and I feel the drips. No matter how much. So I almost have to like waterfall it. I have to go like, and that kind of works. But even then, it's a struggle. I like burritos. What do you think that's gonna be like for my beard if I eat a burrito? I mean, I'm gonna have to use a fork and knife. And have you ever used a fork and knife on a burrito? Some burritos are good for a fork and knife. Like those wet burritos, those are good. But if it's like a just a regular like, Roberto's, maybe a Taco Bell burrito, like or one other franchises you have with your taco places in your area. There's many different franchises, but your favorite taco franchise, what are you gonna do with a big beard like this? Well, ah, ah. Or you could just cut it up in little pieces and just like put it in. I got options. I'm just kind of interested to see how it's gonna work because until that comes the 6th or 7th month where I don't shave or I don't trim the mustache, that's gonna be, a different thing. I don't know what I'll do. I'll just have to wait and see because it's just gonna happen. It will happen, but I'm gonna have to eat. I'm gonna have to drink. I'm gonna have to keep myself presentable. You know, it's really all about when it comes. So who knows? I'm open for, adjusting, trimming obviously a little bit because, every beard is kind of it's not perfect. Just like our faces, most of our faces aren't symmetrical. We don't have that asymmetry where like one side is the same as the other. You can kind of tell with mine, my eye right here is a little bit more droopier, but it's just how my face is. Maybe I'm just going like this too much, but who knows? Like eventually you will see the imperfections just like you will see the imperfections of a beard. My beard is no different. It just means that I have to kind of work around it like everyone else. I have to maybe fluff this side a little bit more so that way, oh, now it reaches the same type of, you know, symmetric, symmetry. Anywho, but yeah, that's all I'm saying. We're not perfect, but hey, we try to become perfect like this guy, even though he wasn't perfect. But when you watch his movies, man, those scenes are perfect. I don't think I can imagine anyone playing that part except for Robin Williams. That's why I think again, this guy deserves to be the bearded legend today. He deserves to be the bearded legend tomorrow and the next one. and the next live, and the next live, and the next week, and the next week. Anyways, I can't talk enough about this guy because like I can just go on and on and on. But I do have I don't have a watch right here, but just motioning. I do have other things that I have to do today, but I really appreciate you guys coming in the chat and saying hi. I appreciate you watching me, making me a fool again, making myself a fool. I am a fool, but hey, I hope you are enjoying this fool, and hope you guys see this fool again the next Saturday live, which I'll come on for another bearded legend. I'll talk a little bit more. I'll let you know about my day and stuff, but yeah, and also post another video tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But hopefully you guys are going to be enjoying your weekends, your Saturday. It's only 3:30, and maybe depending on if it's further over in the East Coast, it's like 6:30 or so. But hey, we still got plenty of time to go do what we need to do to make ourselves better people in the end. You know, because that's what it's all about. It's all about just making sure that we can develop some type of discipline and form and habit that makes us better people. Makes us better people for you, makes us better people for others, makes us better people for the people that we live with around us. That's what it's really about. So, anywho, uh, the last person in the chat, um, Jonaid, what do you do? What do I do? I grow my beard every single day. I document it, I post it. But I also am in the medical industry, so I'm more of a customer service, technician rep. I'm doing rehabilitation work right now. I used to do a bunch of EEG work, electroencephalograms, putting wires on people's heads and testing their brain activity. Now I get to work with patients that are conditioning their joints to recover from an injury, or help them work out for about an hour so that they can continue to become mobile. People who need better quality assistance, when they want to gain more independence. I'll be working with geriatrics, I'll be working with many different walks of life. But that's my next career path. But hey, my other career path, growing this 3-year beard, and it's only been 3.5 months. You guys have a great rest of your weekends. I will see you next time. And yeah, keep bearding the course, guys.